What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I know video game news has been kind of dry lately, and it seems like maybe my viewer interest in it is waning a little bit, but I still want to cover it because, I think that, there's a lot of people that enjoy that. So I'm going to combine two pretty big stories from today, both the Cyberpunk backlash, or CD Projekt Red backlash, as well as another mass firing at Blizzard over some misconduct claims. Now, first, we know that CDPR has essentially eroded all of their goodwill with customers over the Cyberpunk release. And we know that Blizzard has been embroiled in significant bad press over the past maybe 6 months or a year or so. And there's been a mass exodus from people from World of Warcraft. They're obviously their most important title, to games like Final Fantasy and New World. All of this bad news is sponsored. Hey, maybe you are a gamer, maybe you're not. But if you're in the market for a new PC, I'm happy to share with you a great partner, Meta PCs. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Meta PCs. Now, I know you're not going to run out and quick buy a brand new computer just because I ran this ad, but what I would hope is that you'll keep Meta PCs in mind for a variety of reasons and use my promo code, The Quartering, to save big at checkout. Look, Meta PCs offers custom configurations. It has insane parts availability. They're one of the few people I see out there with the brand new NVIDIA 3090 in stock and shipping. When you buy from them, they offer you build photos as they work along. When you receive your PC, it's ready to go out of the box. It's 100% US-based sales and support. And one of my favorite things, it's a veteran-owned business. Meta PCs is veteran-owned. One of Meta's owners has served in Afghanistan and Iraq and received a Purple Heart for his service. Meta also employs military veterans in the Meta Operations Center and also provides systems to veterans going back to school to help them re-enter the workforce all across the United States. Meta PCs also offers financing. Head on over to MetaPC at metapcs.com. Use code TheQuartering at checkout to save money and support my content. If nothing else, go configure a PC, build a little wish list, and when you're ready, remember to use code TheQuartering at checkout at MetaPCs. I know I'll be getting myself a brand new one before the end of the year. Check out metapcs.com. Gamer or not, if you're in the market for a new PC, I absolutely love working with Meta. Now, CD Projekt Red issued this statement today. Dear all, we have an important update regarding next-gen updates for Cyberpunk 2077 and Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Now, if you're like me, I pre-ordered Cyberpunk 2077, and I pre-ordered it from GOG.com so that I could give CDPR the maximum amount of my money. I was bamboozled, and subsequently played about 20 minutes of it, and it's been sitting on my desktop ever since. Why haven't I played it? Well, because I want to play Cyberpunk 2077, which I think is still a year away. I think it's still 6 months or a year away. And I'm fine to wait. My only regret, I know I'm going to like Cyberpunk. I know I will. My only regret is paying full price for it. I would have bought it at some point after it got all the patches and after it worked decent. So my only regret is paying $60 for it and not getting it at a discount, which everyone else is going to. But they have now updated that both Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for consoles and PC, based on recommendations supplied by teams supervising the development, we have decided to postpone their release to 2022. Our current target for Cyberpunk 2077 is the first quarter of 2022, and the second quarter of 2022 for Witcher 3. Apologies for the extended wait, but we want to make it right. Fixed it. Thanks for your money. Actual game coming next year. I mean, again, this is just on the console updates, right? I don't really understand what they're saying. If we look here, CD Projekt Red delays next-gen Cyberpunk 2077 and Witcher 3 to 2022. With the delays, it seems like CDPR is taking steps to ensure it doesn't repeat the botched launch of Cyberpunk 2077, which was riddled with bugs and issues when it was first released back in December 2020. Wow, that was a year ago now. I know that many of you have said, look, I played the game with no issues, and that's great. I'm not personally offended by it, but I'm also fortunate that the $60 I spent wasn't my entire budget for new games for the year. That's not the case for a lot of people. And I try to represent as many, like as wide a swath as people as I can. Certainly there are people out there that could spend $1,000 a year on video games because they're, because they're business write-off. And then there are people that they get that one game, okay? And when that one game doesn't work, that sucks. The studio has spent months since releasing numerous patches and hotfixes in an attempt to fix some of the issues. I mean, back in August, they had easy perk resets, entice players back into Night City. They're doing everything they can, and I appreciate that. You see here, back in 2021, hotfix 104, 105, 106. Now then, there's patch 1.11, hotfix patch 1.2, patch 1.23. I'll play it once we get the DLCs in. Once the DLCs are there, I'll feel like the main game is kind of in the right place. People now, I think, are just over it. They moved on. They're looking forward to other games like Elden Ring or something like that. But on top of this, we have Blizzard both renaming a WoW character based on a musician who made phobic remarks because Cannibal Corpse, a metal band, he used the bundle of stick word 13 years ago. 13 years ago. Homophobia destroyed. But on top of that, Blizzard and Activision have now fired more than 20 people since the harassment lawsuit. So they are actually doing something. Now, I think that there's a degree of, outrage here. There's both the really, really bad actors, and then there are people that, probably made a spicy joke and got fired for it, which is probably too far. More than 20 Activision Blizzard employees have been fired since the claims first came to light, according to Francis Townsend, Activision Blizzard's executive vice president. Their announcements come as part of a larger update in which Townsend outlined the publisher's response to various claims that have dogged the company since summer. They include adding 3 more positions to the company's ethics and compliance team. Those, okay. They included with 19 more planned for the future. This is what I'm talking about, the grift. All these people go to college and they get these degrees and pointless stuff. These are the jobs those people get. Like gender studies people, this is their job. So they create the outrage, they create the problem, and then they create themselves a job. It's a nice little ecosystem for them. It said it will also triple its investment into training resources. This isn't a training issue. This is just an accountability issue. Bro culture isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when you have people in power banging their, their employees, the people that are beneath them and the company org chart, that stuff isn't okay. You had Jesse McCree, you had all these things. So with 20 people fired, here's the thing. Here's why Blizzard is between a rock and a hard place here. None of that is going to get people to return to the game. I believe people that quit the game during this recent outrage, when I left, it was over the Hong Kong stuff. And that was a big issue to me. I did a kind of a cost-benefit analysis, and at the time I was like, you know what? I don't like World of Warcraft as much as I like my freedom of speech. And I felt like they were being hypocritical there. Some people didn't care, and that's okay. I'm not going to judge them. Here, I'm not sure how many people actually quit World of Warcraft over these claims that the company was toxic, and actually it was like a reminder that the game was in a terrible spot. For the entire summer, Shadowlands was a disaster. It offered us so much and failed to deliver on so much. The state of the game was in very poor, okay? And that's why it made it easy for people to quit. I strongly suspect, it was also a perfect storm of where Final Fantasy XIV Online was drawing players in at record numbers like myself. I haven't streamed in several weeks, and I'm starting to feel bad about that, but I just haven't had time. So Final Fantasy was in a great place. World of Warcraft was in a bad place. And then World of Warcraft had bad press, so that people were able to capitalize on it and virtue signal about quitting the game that they were already unhappy about. Okay? So this doesn't bring anybody back to the game. Blizzard still has to fix World of Warcraft. And quite honestly, they're not going to entice people back in until they can do another expansion, which isn't going to be for, another year before they can even start hyping that up. And they've got to fix all the existing problems. That's what their best bet is, to spend the next year fixing those next problems, fixing the problems, and making sure their next expansion doesn't reopen that same wound, which seems to happen every time they roll out an expansion. The old giants seem to be toppling down, and I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing. I do miss World of Warcraft, I certainly do, and I do hope that I will eventually enjoy Cyberpunk 2077, but this has been a rough year for some of my all-time favorites. What do you think? Do you think there's anything that will get you back to World of Warcraft? Or are you just over it? Cyberpunk, are you still waiting? Did you play it through? Have you moved on? I'm curious what you have to say in the comment section down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.